For professionals, especially at the mid-career or the senior level, maintaining relevance within your industry isn't merely a career objective. It is an imperative. Flourishing in this ever-changing landscape demands professionals to continuously learn and upgrade. So today we will delve into this use case of executive MBA programs on enhancing career agility. I am Shruti, an MBA admissions consultant with GOALisB. Having recently graduated from the Stanford GSB LEAD program, where I joined around 14 years post an MBA at ISB, I believe that discussing perspectives around the executive MBA is an important conversation for professionals today. And today we have Ms. Neha Bora and Dr. Saswata Banerjee as panel members to take this conversation forward. So thank you, panelists, for joining us today. And we look forward to hearing from you and learning about the perspectives which are important in the decision-making process for choosing an executive MBA program. So Ms. Neha Bora, she is the managing director of EMC Studio Private Limited. With a remarkable career spanning over a decade, Ms. Neha, she has been at the helm of this innovative venture since 2011. She is joining the executive masters at the SDA Bocconi Asia Center. And Dr. Saswata Banerjee, he is a scientist, author, and entrepreneur with a strong academic background in chemistry and a PhD in DNA nanotechnology. He has authored over 20 titles and edited more than 30 books to date. And he's all set to join the ISB PGP Pro program that is at the Indian School of Business. So thank you, panelists, once again. And please share your introductions and tell us about your career journey till date.
Thank you, Shruti, for inviting me. As you've mentioned, I've been here. I've been at this company for the last 12 years, but my career spans about 17 years. Started off in finance, dabbled a little bit in entrepreneurship, and for the last 12 years, we've been in the digital content production space. So it's a global content studio, and I handle the Indian operations for this.
Excellent. And Dr. Shashwata, please share your personal career journey and your personal experiences. You've had a very diverse education background as well. Excited to know about it.
Thank you, Shruti, for the very nice introduction. Nice to be here. So, my background has been in chemistry. I got a master's from IIT Madras, and then I moved to Arizona State University for PhD. So there's where I was introduced to DNA nanotechnology, and I did my PhD under Dr. Howie, and it was a very, very big and nice group, very productive group. From there, I moved to Columbia University for my postdoctoral research, and I was working on biosensors. And I have been interested in writing and publishing since my school, high school, college days. So, in parallel, I was trying to build a startup in India where I could publish books. So, I already started with some of my friends and peers. And during the COVID, I was on a vacation to India and they overlapped. So, after that, I just stayed back and delved more into the management aspect of science. And from there, I started working with Cactus Communications as a scientific reviewer. And then I went to ACS, and in parallel, kept on studying on management and communications. So ultimately, I landed to ISB as for the pre-GP Pro because I felt that I have some gaps that I need to fill up, and I also need a structure. So I'll be joining the cohort from 2024 cohort. The course starts from January. Yeah.
All right, great. And congratulations to your admits as well. So
Thank you.
coming to the discussion today, so we have pointed out the topic as the value of executive MBA programs. So that is the first question. When we have traditional MBA programs as well, how do you define what is the value of the executive MBA program? Why do you choose this program? What is it that you should expect from your process of shortlisting a program at all? So Neha, if you would like to go ahead at this first, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So value, I would think, I mean, MBA programs themselves are is an investment in my mind. They're expensive, so obviously we need to consider what are the benefits vis-a-vis the cost and the time factors that are involved in doing MBAs. So, I mean, for an executive MBA, I think the cohort usually comes with rich experience, work experience. So they are at a certain level in their career progression already, and probably looking to upskill, probably looking at maybe they have knowledge gaps that they need to fill in. um, I think leadership skills, that's one of the biggest value add of an executive MBA in my mind. Uh, People doing executive MBAs, I think, are at a stage in their careers where they're looking at maybe playing larger roles in their industry, in their companies, managerial, C-suite roles. And I think leadership skills is definitely a must-have, like effective communication, strategic thinking, and obviously networking. I think all MBAs is like the buzzword. It's networking. You have a cohort that comes from different industries, diverse backgrounds. It's faculty comes with a lot of industry connections, and I think that's a huge value add in my mind for MBAs, and especially an executive MBA.
Right. And Shashwata, what would you suggest? How can individuals actually assess whether pursuing an executive MBA is the right decision for their career at all?
At this juncture, I would like to define the term value first. Like, how do you look at the term value? So it's actually the set of benefits that you expect to get from a program, and it actually delivers. So, so now the question comes for the real value and perceived value, that you understand something and it actually you get something. So you need to be very clear about the term value. So, so you can judge it. You can judge it on various parameters, like what Neha said. It's leadership. Like before, when I was in a team, I am in a more secure environment, and then I want to be exposed to insecurities. So am I well equipped to withstand those insecurities and navigate through them? Another thing is, what kind of skills can I develop, and whether they will be required in my career path. So that is another aspect of value. Whether like this, understanding this properly, this is important. So if the program can cater those skills, then it's a valuable program for me. Otherwise, not. Another thing is networking. Definitely networking, because if you want to switch, if you want to get a clear idea about how the industry and the landscape looks like, you need a good network. It's not possible from the comfort zone of your small team or work from home environment to really go out and look. So your cohort can actually guide you through the process. So these are the three important points that can one can consider to look at the value of the program. Yeah, and understand the term value.
Yes. And another concept about the executive MBA programs versus the regular MBA programs when you're evaluating the options is that the executive MBA programs, they do not have a very clear pathway in terms of giving you a placement process or a window of opportunity against recruiters, which is actually not possible to quite an extent because everybody is coming with such a lot of experience in their own very unique fields that facilitating that particular environment on a certain particular window will probably be a very tough thing to manage. One second, everybody's probably not even looking at it from that point of view. So, from your perspective, Neha, how did you, decide as to what is the career advancement that you're looking at from the executive MBA? Was it purely placements, or are there other aspects that contribute to it?
No, I don't think it was definitely not placements, because I think I was quite aware that an executive MBA in placements is not my career goal, like immediate career goal, that I just want to take a switch. I think it was, like I said, it was more upskilling, honing leadership skills. I've already been in a sort of leadership position and decision making position, so it's just honing those skills, and also obviously getting into more strategic roles within my organization. So I mean, that in short, that was the reason why I wanted to go for an executive MBA. Definitely not placements. I mean, I would suggest, if someone's looking purely out of a placement perspective, I would suggest a normal MBA, and probably not an executive MBA. So
Right. And
Yeah,
Shashwata,
just
what
what.
were the perspectives that you had in mind? Yes.
So yeah, exactly. Like executive MBAs are not for placements. Let's be very clear. Like it is not going to provide us placements. It will provide us opportunities to move higher up the ladder, or opportunity of horizontal growth. So somebody like as accomplished as Neha, she doesn't want a placement because she's already placed. She knows how to get placed. So she has her bargaining power and her tools in the box. So she knows how to do that. But she would like to look at a wider scape, I would say, like the global perspectives, now how to navigate to a bigger space. So executive MBAs are not the first step of a managerial journey, I would say. It's a it's a later stage, because if you look at my program, already requires a 5 years of experience. So it's for experienced professionals. So they are not. So nobody should have this misconception that executive MBA is for getting placed. It's for getting placed higher. Yeah.
Yes, and we've spoken about networking, earlier in this discussion as well. What is the, what are the ideas around networking, and how is it important? So, what are the perspectives that one should have in mind when they're considering networking from the professional standpoint?
Do you want to go ahead?
Please go
No.
ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, networking really, I think in my perspective, my biggest growth over the past so many years has come from discussions, from like enriching discussions with my peers, with higher ups, with my team. There's a massive learning curve out there. Networking is one of the reasons why probably Bocconi kind of attracted me was their the average age of the cohort, uh, average work ex of the cohort is about 15 years, and I think that kind of fit very well with the stage of my career that I am in. So I think the discussions go up several notches when you're with peers who have similar work ex. The they come from diverse backgrounds. It's exposure to different industries, different roles, maybe certain things that you've never considered in the past, and exposure to that faculty, networking with faculty as well, because I feel like faculty are more like facilitators really, and less like teachers in the real sense for executive MBAs. So networking, the alumni, I think, while choosing an MBA program, I do think that we should look at the alumni network, how widespread it is, how easy it is, what are the events that happen in that. So yes, you never know what opportunities just interacting with people may throw up, in my mind. So in my mind, that's essentially what networking is: people skills, honing your people skills, and having that wide network, having people to guide you through things, or just reaching out for help when needed, and having meaningful discussions really.
Shashwata, your take on networking, and how do you feel professionals should, understand and relate to networking? How can they go about it?
Well, like if you're just working in your team and you are not really going out through a program, how do you meet people? Like, what are the scopes? You don't meet anybody. So you don't know about the very fast evolving space, industrial space, even academic space. You don't know about them. So you need some space, like space where you a lot of heads come together and actually discuss things. So this is the very first stage. Then you come to the space with your specific needs that you need to move, you need other opportunities. So networking also caters to that okay, I know this person who is in touch with this company, and they can give the information, then so and so positions are there. So this is where placement opportunities come in, like, indirectly. So networking caters to this. And also, like, I would say technology, that this company is using this kind of device, this kind of software, this kind of workflow, and you try to adopt. Like, it's not possible that you alone you know everything. The scape is so fast evolving. So networking is definitely important, and an executive MBA is somewhere you can get this opportunity, because they are all trained professionals. Everybody is aware that I am a node of a network. So I can be benefited, and also I can benefit somebody. So this awareness is very essential, that we would like to nurture our network. This is not so much streamed in a entry level MBA course. That awareness is not there. It's very theoretical. But with the 5-10 years of experience, I know how networks can actually save me in some positions, I'd say. So yeah, so the take is also very mature.
Yes. And what really brings the thought back to, okay, this is now a time that we need to get into going back to school. Why what triggers the continuous learning process or the initiation that, okay, now you need something else? What were those triggers where one can realize that, okay, I need to look for a program where I can upskill or, let's say, get involved in a new learning process? Neha, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, so essentially, why did I look for an MBA, Shruti? Is that interesting? So I did feel like I sort of hit like a roadblock when it came to my knowledge, and I mean, obviously there was always learning over the years, but I did feel the need over the past few years to kind of upskill. Um, and one of my previous entrepreneurship roles, it really brought to light a lot of areas where I really felt like I needed to upskill. I needed to know more. um, like Saswata just said some time ago, when you're just working in a team and you're working in your role, you feel like you're in a box and you're great at what you do, but when you look outside, and when you look outside, sometimes you're like, oh my god, I don't know anything about this. So I genuinely felt the need to upskill. um, and again, like I said, leadership skills, that very important, just to hone those leadership skills, get better. um, so this I felt for a few years now. I also believe that it is an investment also in of your time and money, and I think you need to justify it by giving it your all. And that's why I felt like this. I had a lot of personal commitments which I couldn't get out of till this year, and I was very clear that this year and forward is when I really would want to go in for an MBA and explore this option. And that's why, Shruti, you came in when I knew I wanted to do an MBA, but the whys were very hazy. And when I spoke to you, I think that brought about a lot of introspection on exactly what do I want to do, how do I want my career going forward. Um, so so yes, I mean, it is, and obviously, and I know MBAs do kind of, a good MBA program will inculcate a growth mindset. And I think anyone who's looking for an MBA should obviously think of that in a way that you're always going to be learning. You're always going to, you should be learning. You should be getting the best out of the program, not only during the 1 or 2 years that you're in the program, but going forward, whether it's networking through alumni events, whether it is just self learning, areas that you don't know about, you going for more industry events in those areas, maybe learning more. So I mean, I do think that we should look at programs that are going to push you out of your comfort zone in a way, and help you to like constantly kind of learn through your life. So yeah, in short, that was my reasons for doing an MBA, really.
And Shashwata, what was the trigger for you? Why an executive MBA? You have a lot of experience and qualifications as well. So what brought you to this stage?
Again, I would like to go to the basics of it. Like, what do you mean by a skill? You have a problem out there and you need a solution. So the capacity to bridge between the problem to the solution, it's kind of gap analysis also. It's called a skill. So if you believe that there is always a better capacity or capability to bridge this gap, then you always look for the better capacity, right? Like whatever capacity I am having, capability, I'll say. So I can remember about my father who was a banker, and it was in his time when the computer system and the core banking system was being introduced. And during, quite naturally, while he was being trained, he knew nothing about the computers, right? So I looked at him. He was such an avid learner that he started taking courses outside, and at that time there was no online courses. So he started taking courses in C programming, and he really became a master in that in a short time. But I can watch his perseverance, like when I was a child, and he was so serious, and I could see that his peers are actually coming to him for solutions. That actually inspired me a lot. So I always felt that my father is an example of upskilling, living example of upskilling. What can upskilling do? So when I was in my academic journey, I always felt that we lack time management, we lack management skills, we lack organization skills, because in academia there's some kind of sloppiness. Okay, you join your PhD, it will go for 5 years, it'll go for 6 years, but for the initiation, from the initiation you are given a slow ride, like the idea of a slow ride. But when you are in industry, in corporates, you are said that, okay, this will last for 1 month, 2 months, and this is expected from you. So this kind of, I would say, very defined approach, defined mindset is also like transition from an undefined, like less defined mindset to a defined mindset is what I expected to gain from a management education. Like this is one of the many points I would say. The others match with Neha, like perfectly match with that. She had some entrepreneurial experience, and there were loopholes in our skill sets, in our understanding of our team, that can be learned. But particularly from the point of skill development, like what is my take, there are always opportunities of upskilling, but we need a direction. So a very curated program can give us this direction of upskilling. Yeah.
Yes. And we've, reiterated the point that leadership skills is something, leadership development is something that you're looking at, especially from an executive MBA program. So, what are the leadership qualities that you expect, or any participant can expect to develop from the executive MBA programs? What are your expectations? Plus, how do you feel these qualities will impact career advancement? So, what are the areas of, leadership development that can be pinpointed? uh, which professionals might require.
So I think in my mind, one is obviously strategic and analytical thinking, very important really to kind of go up the corporate ladder. One of the most important but sort of overlooked areas is effective communication. I think that's like the backbone of anything that you do. And if you want to be an effective leader, you need to be able to effectively communicate and inspire, motivate others. And it's not as in my mind, it's not as easy as it sort of seems sometimes. Like, how do you motivate people? I think people management skills are extremely important when we talk about leadership. um, and I would think I had something else in mind which I've completely blanked out on right now. But but yeah, and also like in a global context, like I'm working for a global studio, and communication is great, but also communication across boundaries. So cross cultural communication, having that emotional intelligence, EQ is very important. And I'm definitely looking at the MBA to sort of hone those areas of of leadership for me.
Yeah, in fact, a common point that we see, a common thread is that, you become experts in what you do. Your certain function or domain that you're working in, you are an expert in that. But how do you integrate the whole, the organization perspective or the strategic perspective from the point of view of being at the helm of affairs? That becomes slightly tricky after you have around 10, 12, 13 years of experience. That is some place where you need some handholding and you need additional skills which will come in, which is purely not domain related but more towards context related. I think that is something that is also important in this point. And Shashwata, what do you suggest, are the leadership skills that one can develop and one should aim to develop when they are seeking such a program?
So one of the mostly used and misunderstood words is leadership. Like it's so much used, it has become a cliche, right? So leadership, I think part of it comes from your being, that you are born a leader, and that constitutes a great deal of the leadership theories that people believed in early 19 in the 19th century. People believed that leaders are just born. But then there was extensive research started, and people start understood that leaders can also be made, and it can be a hybrid. So it is important to understand how the concept of leadership have evolved with time. So a formal understanding of leadership is important, and what are the different qualities of a leader, and like for example, how do we exert the power, what kind of power there are, like expert power, positional power, legitimate power, those kind of powers. And through understanding this, we come to this realization that expert power is the best one. Like you are an expert at something and you can mobilize people, inspire people. So again, a curated program can actually give an access, and through all these things, I would like to share with you one example of my like personal example. While I was writing the essay for my ISP, I have been writing essays for academic admissions, and I we always focus on our academic achievements, where we need no leadership skills, nothing. So it's always an individual contribution, right? And I have been contributing to this for past 32 years. So my essay was like that. So I asked my friend to go over it, and he said, "Where is the leader in this?" So you just see that the mindset, like I completely overlooked, and then I really can figure out points which were not directly related to my academic experience, where I was a leader. And apparently, because ISB accepted me, I can somehow say that they acknowledged my leadership skills. So this is a simple example, but I think it throws a significant amount of light on the misconception about leadership that we bear. So I expect that this will be enlightened, this aspect of myself. Yeah.
Yeah. And a very real, part of taking up this initiative of continuous learning and going in for an executive MBA is how do you manage your responsibilities vis-a-vis what the program will also. These programs are very rigorous, and I just completed one last year. I remember the way I was managing my time, and that too across global time zones. So it's a nightmare. So how do you think one can manage, and how do you plan to take up that commitment of managing the workload that you have at your workplace and as well as the workload of the program that it will ask for.
I think, Shruti, time management and just organization skills very important when you're considering this, you know to be because it's such a rigorous program. It's, even though they say it's like a weekend program, but obviously you have to be working on it through the week. There's a lot of reading, case studies, and obviously there is workload and personal commitments. So we have to ask ourselves, is this the right time where we can sort of give in our best and commit to the program 100%? Because it's not a couple of months, it's a good, 1 year plus. So I would think, managing time well, effectively, that's key. And for me personally, I think leveraging technology to be organized, that's something that we've been doing any which ways over the past few years, at work, in my personal life. So I in for me, that transition would be much easier, because I'm already doing this. But for anyone who's considering this, yes, I mean, you have to be working on these skills, having that organization skills, and very importantly, having a buy-in from your friends, family, and your company, really, because I think there has to be a lot of understanding with the time commitment that you're going to be putting to this program. So you need people rallying around you and supporting you through this journey. So yes, I mean, in my mind, these are key, really, if you want to go ahead for an MBA.
Right. And Shashwata, what about you? How do you plan to manage your time with the work as well as what the program requires? And I think you will have quite a bit of traveling to do as well. So that's going to be a additional burden on you. So what are your plans on taking up? What are the challenges that you face?
So whenever I'm like doing a new thing, it means that I have to leave some of the old things, like maybe some old engagements, some old habits. So first thing I feel important is building good habits, and that include definitely scheduling, trying to obey the schedule, a thoughtful approach to prioritize our tasks. That's a horrible thing that I was at, like, and I often see my peers. Time management, that actually leads to an efficient time management. Also delegation, like if I'm not able to do something, I should know how to delegate the task. And I remember one of my teachers in my high school days, she used to say, well, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. And similarly, she used to say like 5 hours, 4 hours of regular studying a day keeps the exam fear away. But it's I would like to repeat that every day learning something, giving 2 hours for studying, even if you're not in an MBA, is a must. Even from American Chemical Society, they gave us access to Udemy, so you have the courses. I am a perennial subscriber to Coursera, so I keep on upskilling. So every day you should learn, and At least I'm telling it at least to myself to motivate myself. That helps. This mindset, and there is a book out there called Deep Work. So there is something called deep learning also. So leveraging technology is one thing, and understanding how these helps, like through books like Deep Work, Atomic Habits is a famous book. So building good habits. I think it's your responsibility to make yourself efficient so that you can navigate successfully through this curriculum. That's important. Yeah.
Yeah, and these are great pointers, actually very practical and doable. Thank you, Neha and Shashwato, for taking out the time on a Sunday. So we'll be, one more question which has been it's like a very tangible question, things that are very real. What is the ROI in terms of an MBA program? Is it in terms of the immediate cost or the long-term career benefits? So, Shashwata, I think we'll go ahead with you first on this. What for you is the ROI of an executive MBA program that you're planning to pursue? How would you look at it, and how do you suggest that anybody should look at it?
So it's a financially very tangible. I would say it's a very expensive, and the view should definitely be long term. Definitely, there's no question it. So first, like you research on it. What could be your time commitments, financial commitments, and then I think we need to do a research within my company. Like what could be my scopes, what could be my benefits, whether they value this kind of a program, and if they value, how much is that, like what can I exactly immediately achieve, or program like ISB, like I think any executive program, they gives you the opportunity to apply whatever you are learning in parallel. So you can start bargaining that the moment I'm starting this program, I will be able to bring in more value to the organization. So that actually contributes to your ROI calculation. So it's definitely a long term goal. And when you already have the certification or degree, definitely your acceptance in the industry is way higher up. But a research is necessary, a consultant is necessary, mentors are necessary. They can give you a more holistic idea. Yeah, so there are many ways of calculating the ROI, but what I want to stress upon is the calculation must be done. There is no point of like going on this journey without the ROI calculation. That's important.
Yeah. And people are really, they do keep on thinking on what is the ROI of this program, whether I should get into this investment at all. What are some pointers that were important for you to, calculate the ROI, and how did you go about it, Neha? So that, it can jerk them out of their comfort zones and decide that, okay, now I have these check boxes ticked, so let me just go ahead with it once.
Honestly, Shruti, I mean, if you're just going to do a simple math calculation of this much I'm investing and this is what I'm going to get after it, I think it doesn't work for any MBA, especially for an executive MBA. I think the intangible benefits are, as Sashwata said, long-term benefits are far outweigh the short terms. Yes, there would be an impact, there would be salary increases, but the long term impacts are what you need to consider uh, at the end of the day. I mean, that's in my mind the ROI that you should be calculating, not that I'm at X and I'm going to get X plus 20% post this. It's that will never add up for an MBA. The kind of costs that are involved in doing an executive MBA, that kind of ROI, the tangible, immediate tangible short term benefits will never kind of add up, and you'll always be like, oh no, it's not worth it. So Shaswata rightly said, I agree with whatever he said, and you have to do your research and what are the opportunities available within your company, or horizontally. Are you looking at a shift? Are you looking, uh, what are the salary considerations? Yes, that everyone does think financially, but also I would suggest think long term, think how it's going to shape you as a person, as a leader, and maybe in 5 years where that's going to get you. I mean, that's the true benefit, I think, of an MBA in my mind.
Yeah. And I think finally the whole objective of getting into an executive MBA is, to build that capacity to adapt, innovate, and refresh or nurture your professional growth. So after a certain point in time, you probably become stagnated, or you feel at a loss of new ideas. You do also have to prove yourself in the workplace. So getting that ability to use some examples, use some other perspectives from different industries, which you will get through your peers and the network. This refreshes the whole the career journey for you as a professional. So, any last tips for the audience, people who are evaluating executive MBA programs? What would be your takeaways for them to consider a program, which is how to evaluate a program? Let's say how to do that research.
Shashwat,
Shashwata, you could go first,
yeah.
and please.
Till now, I have always, and like, mutually, me and Neha have agreed on whatever we said. But at one point, I would like to disagree. So she said something like, "I want to break away from my comfort zone and do like through doing this MBA and this." But I would say that it's about extending our comfort zones. Like you are comfortable at all the unfavorable positions. I would especially like to mention a course that I have seen in ISB curriculum is decision making in times of uncertainty. So the course is designed to make you comfortable in uncertain times. So I know my mindset is like this, that I'm just extending my comfort zone. So I will encourage others also to think this way.
That's an interesting take, Sashwata. I mean, I have never really thought in that way. In my mind, I just feel like when I'm uncomfortable or out of my comfort zone, I tend to sort of do better. Like, and I work way better under crisis. So I don't ever want to get really comfortable in any position in any. For me, I mean, that's personally my take on things. So, and there are areas that, to be honest, I've never done like a live session like this. So this is like it is for me. It is like I do a lot of these international calls, and which is fine. But doing like a panel discussion like this is something. It's a
But
small
you feel more
example.
comfortable in the next session.
Yeah,
That's how you're
exactly.
I think she
slowly
already is.
Yeah, but yeah. So what are my tips? I think one of my biggest things that I always tell my team also is be curious. You know, be curious about your surroundings, about what's happening in the world. With we're global. It's too interconnected. The world is too interconnected to be sitting in your own little box in your own silos. So be curious, because that's how you will constantly upskill and constantly learn. An MBA is really is there to accelerate your learning in a way, and to meet new people, to explore different ideas and different areas that you wouldn't have considered. But just be curious, and when you're looking at MBA programs, look at the curriculum, look at the faculty. Does it fit into your career aspirations, into your what you want in the short term and long term? So there are a lot of, and introspect, like I did after I spoke to you, Shruti. The introspect, what exactly do you want out of life, out of your career, out of an MBA? I think that's like the first step, even decide before deciding on a college for or a program for MBA.
Right. And continuous learning, it is no more a discretionary endeavor. It is more of an indispensable mandate, especially for those professionals who want to be up their game, who want to lead the industry wherever they are working. And thank you, Neha, and thank you, Shashwato, for being a part of this discussion. A lot of interesting points have come to light, and a lot of real challenges and ideas have come in. And I feel it will be helpful for the people who are planning to take up this journey. Thank you
Thank
once
you,
again for
Shruti.
your time.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Shruti, for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Shruti. Thanks,
Have a good
Neha.
day.
Thank you. Thanks, Shasta.